Welcome to PlayBranson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. I'm your host, Chris Meyer. Today's show is brought to you by iBranson.com, where you can find lots of information about Branson shows and attractions. So if you're looking for the latest schedules, go to iBranson.com. Our guest today on the show is Lena Lee, and she's with a new show called Rock You 101. On the website, their website, it says, "This show is not your same old song and dance." I have a feeling this show is different from other Branson shows, and we're going to learn more about that on this episode of PlayBranson. We'll be back in just a minute.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson, and today I have Lena Lee on the show. It's the first time you've ever been on the show, so welcome.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
And so you've been in Branson for a long time. We're going to talk about history, but you're at a new show called Rock You 101 at the Copeland Theater, and we're going to talk all about that show. But before we do that, take us back into your musical history and how you got into this business.
Oh boy. Well, I was born and raised here. So I'm organic, I guess you could say. That's what Bucky Hurd, if anybody knows who that is, always calls me. But I've been on stage since I was 3 years old. My mother put me in beauty pageants, so I did like the baby Miss America pageant. Super embarrassing now, but it's fine. I started taking dance when I was 3, so I'm proficient in ballet, tap. As I got older, I taught like Latin styles and things like that, and choreographed a bunch of shows. Started singing when I was 9, and started acting when I was 6. And I actually remember the first time I ever did the school talent show. I had terrible stage fright, and like I got up there and I had the microphone and I just froze. And so a lot of what I've done now is me saying I'm never going to have stage fright again. So if you've ever seen me perform or come see the show, you'll see that we do a lot of weird and embarrassing, crazy things because, why not? But then after that, I took some time to finish my education, and then I started working in the Ozark Murder Mysteries, which after that owner passed away, kind of took over the company and became Almost Famous Murder Mystery here in Branson.
And that was one of the first murder mysteries here in town, wasn't
I believe it was the first, yeah.
Yeah.
So we did that for a while and then closed the company in 2015. Kind of took some time off from Branson, went to Springfield, did some theater, and met my bandmates now, who are also featured in Rock You 101. Jeremy and I, who is the guitar player and also does some vocals, he and I are actually the 2 remaining original members, but we are so grateful to now have Austin and Gabe joined us. It just adds something entirely different.
So you're in this band in Springfield.
Yes.
And is it the same name? Is it different name? Like, talk about the evolution of the band.
Oh boy. Same band, but different name. I actually met Jeremy at an open mic night because that formation of the band was kind of like the house band for this club. And I had a really bad day, never went out, and I was like, screw it, I don't want to be at home tonight. And I just went and sat there, and they asked me up to sing, and they're like, hey, you want to come to band practice next week? At the time, it was called Jar 241, and then some changes happened in the band. As you do, you've got disputes sometimes with band members. It's just part of the life. And when they kind of saw themselves out, I was like, we need a better name. We need something catchy and flashy. And kind of like what I was saying, we are a little nuts on stage. So psychosis kind of seemed appropriate.
Okay.
So, but we're all weird in our own separate ways, and somehow bringing it together all works. So hence the shared part.
So how long have you been, like, your group this time now? Like, how long have you been a band together?
It'll be 5 years in May.
Okay. So, I mean, that's quite a long time for a band.
I know. I'm pretty stoked about it and looking forward to what the future has to bring. So.
Yeah. And so, what kind of music, like as the band, now we're going to talk about the show in a second, but as the band, like what have you been doing the last 5 years? Typically on our touring gigs, we do anything from about mid-60s to mid-2000s. We've expanded that for the show, which I know we'll talk about later, but Jeremy, who I've spoken about, he's a huge Pink Floyd fan, and he's phenomenal at it. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased, but... and then I bring the element of I'm real into like 80s music, so I bring like the harder Motley Crue, Iron Maiden kind of feel, and then we've had some older drummers that bring more like the AC/DC kind of sound. So it's honestly it's all over the place. You know, we've got the chill stuff, but then we'll also do like some Amy Winehouse covers, and one of my favorite songs is "Sing a Stand by Me" by Benny King. So. It's a mixed bag. So we try to do a little something for everyone. So as an entertainer, you've kind of done really a lot of different things. I mean, everything from the acting to the singing. Yeah. It's just, like I said, I've been on stage my entire life, and I've not found something that I dislike. I think singing, music is 100% like my biggest passion. And as far as acting goes, I do enjoy it, but I also realize, especially with the murder mystery, that I enjoyed directing more, because there's something incredibly poetic and beautiful about seeing what's in your head in front, come to life in front of you. And I love watching the actors succeed and finding their character and, watching that struggle, and then when it finally clicks, it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Yeah. And it's the same way with a song. So. Now, in prepping for this show, I noticed that you have written books as well. Oh, yeah. and so I think anybody that writes a book, like, that's awesome. Yeah, that was actually my birthday gift to myself one year, was I self-published a poetry collection and a little short novella. Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, and actually funny, I just moved and I had to pack up all my books, and I ran across like my hard copies of them again. I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. So so you're in Springfield, you're in this band called now Shared Psychosis. Yes. Talk to us about how you got to this point with the show in Branson. Well, back in, it's like, what year are we in? 2022. Fall of 2022, we had gotten asked to perform in a show down here. It didn't last very long, but after that kind of ended, the band and I were sitting, we went and had a meeting, and we're like, well, we really enjoyed doing it. And I said, okay, well, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the right way, the way that I used to run the old show, because they really liked having things on a larger and grander scale. And so I started asking around. I talked to, several different theaters, which is very kind and open to work with. And then after I talked to Bob Nichols at the Copeland Theater, I was just like, this is it. This is the place that has not only the most room for opportunity for the band, but also myself. So, okay. It's just... So you had a conversation, and then the rest is history. Yes. And we'll be back with more in just a moment. Hang tight. Hey folks, welcome back to the PlayBranson. I am here today with Lena Lee, and she is in a band called Shared Psychosis, but they're now part of a new show in town here called Rock You 101. Yes. And so, what I always tell people is there's so many shows that we want to educate people on what's new. Mm-hmm. And so this is definitely a new show, and you guys, you just need to tell us what this show's all about, because when I've read it, the little bit I've read, I'm like, nobody's doing this in Branson. Nobody's doing this in Branson. So tell us about Rock You 101. I would love to. Rock You 101, the way that I
quickly describe it, is a 360-degree interactive and immersive experience where theater meets live band. So it is a little longer than your average show around here. It is 2.5 hours because it was really hard to cut down. I mean, we cut the music down a lot, but that's pretty much as we could. But it is a play. So it starts out with kind of exposition and setting up the two characters. So it's Professor Vincent Osborne. It is assigned to teach his class at like this music university. We call it Westerberg. He thinks he's teaching a classical music course. And lo and behold, the janitor's like, nah, brother, this is a rock and roll course. And
That's funny.
and they kind of get in, they have some comedy bits and they kind of get in an argument. And Edward, who's a janitor, takes off. And I'm like, excuse me, my buddies and I that are taking this class, we just so happen to be in a band. And so he does his monologues through the decades, starting in the 50s. We do the entire history of rock and roll, even kind of touch on like the jazz elements and kind of where that came from in the 40s. We don't play that. We do start in the 50s. And then we just go decade by decade until we get to today. So, if you're also into Elvis, but also Pink Floyd and Heart and Motley Crue and Green Day and My Chemical Romance, we've got you covered.
So when you're saying some of those band names, I'm like, I don't think I've heard some of them on the Branson stage before.
No, it's definitely, it's a new challenge, but one that we're very happy to be on the journey for. And people that we've spoken with, our ticket seller friends and just different, community leaders, they say the same thing like you just did, that Branson doesn't have this and Branson needs it. And, we're happy to do it. And it is a challenge because people aren't used to it.
Would you call it more heavy metal, hard rock, soft rock, pop, or all of the above?
All of the above.
All of the
above. We don't really do any pop. We had kind of talked about doing a Duran Duran song at one point. Probably the closest we get is our Hailstorm cover of a Lady Gaga song.
And that was so awesome to hear about your new show. But the title, Rock 101, and what you've done is based on what you've told me, you've kind of mixed in some acting elements to this to make it more than just playing songs.
Exactly. It's not, I do not market the show as a music show. It is a live band within a play. Like you were saying, we've been a band for a long time, and that's kind of what we want to make clear. We weren't people that auditioned and were thrown together, which is great. There's a lot of opportunity for that around here. But we've been through the thick of it, and we get on stage and we play music as us. We're not trying to impersonate Heart. We're not trying to impersonate, all of the other artists that I've mentioned. We are playing them in the style of us, while more paying tribute without impersonating, if that makes sense.
So is this, can everybody come in the family to this show, or should it only be for adults, or?
No, I think, when I was writing this, I really wanted it to be for everybody because music affects everybody, especially rock music. If the music that your parents, banged on the door and said, turn that off, that's what your kids now are like, oh, that's so annoying. So it's just all, I think it's for everyone, yeah.
Okay. Tell us dates and times of the show.
All of our shows are at 8 p.m. And until the kiddos get out of school, we are just doing Wednesdays and Fridays. But for summer and fall and basically, the rest of the year, we are doing Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
So 2 or 3 nights, and then where's the theater at?
It's the Copeland Theater, Branson's Theater. It is inside the shops at Branson Meadows. It's 4230 Gretna Road. So we're catty-cornered from the movie theater and right next to the 1984 arcade. You cannot miss us.
So someone could go, and I know there's a restaurant in there as well, and so someone could go eat. They could come to your show. They could go to, you really could do a bunch of little things in that little that area right there.
Yes, all in one spot. And in fact, the Copeland Theater is also opening up a food truck park. So that's should be open by the time that this airs. So we're super excited. We're going to have a churro truck and some Jamaican food. So you can absolutely try a bunch of different foods. Come see a show and then blow all your quarters at the arcade next door.
There you go. And the Copeland Theater has a bunch of new shows in it this year. And so we just had someone from the Hits on. And so we're trying to feature new entertainment so you guys that watch us can know what is going on in Branson. So Lena, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the stage in Branson, so to say,
it.
and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll be back in just a minute with more Play Branson. Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson. We're wrapping the show up today. I want to thank Lena Lee for coming to the show. Be sure to check out Rock You 101. You can find them over at the Copeland Theater on Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 p.m. And then they're going to be doing Saturdays as well. And so, you know, they're going through the rest of the year. And so totally different type of show. You can also find them on iBranson.com. We really appreciate her coming and sharing what they've got going on. I always like to give you these special events that are coming up. And here we go. We've got in May, of course, from May 4th to May 29th, we have Bluegrass and Barbecue at Silver Dollar City. May 11th and 12th, we have Nonsense, the mega musical down at the Owens Theater in downtown Branson, local community theater. We love that. Big country concert coming up on May 12th. Clay Walker, Lone Star, and Neil McCoy over at Black Oak Amphitheater. Neil McCoy has been here tons of times in the Branson area. Clay Walker, Lone Star, not as much as Neil from that perspective. May 26th, Hairball with special guest Moark Mojo at Black Oak. May 27th, Matt Gum is doing a show, and at 2 p.m. he's got another one followed up on June 18th over at Clay Cooper's. And in June, we've got June 3rd, we've got Travis Tritt with Corey Kent, Black Oak Amphitheater. June 3rd, Michael W. Smith. So excited to have him here. 36 #1 hits, 15 million albums. Michael W. Smith has a big connection with, he actually wrote a lot of the theme songs for Kanakuk years ago. And I remember I started listening to him in 86, somewhere around in there, 88. June 3rd through July 16th, the summer celebration out at Silver Dollar City. Nick Walenda is going to be back. We're so excited to have him back in town. And then on June 30th, we've got Chris Jansen out at Black Oak. July 1st, Stone Temple Pilots at Black Oak Amphitheater as well. Craig Morgan, July 16th here in Branson at Clay Cooper's. Kids Rock, that is not Kid Rock, but Kids Rock, July 22nd and 23rd over at Clay Cooper's. Monty Python Spam-A-Lot, July 27th through August 6th over at the Owens Theater in downtown Branson, local community theater. And in August, Justin Moore and Scotty McCreery, August 18th. Nelly and Friends, August 19th, all at Black Oak. And then we round out the month, August 24th through September 4th, with the Southern Gospel Picnic. If you love Southern Gospel music, this is one of the best festivals you can go to out at Silver Dollar City. And of course, September 1st, my favorite artist, Toby Mac, will be there at Black Oak Amphitheater, followed by on September 8th and 10th, Country Music Days out at Silver Dollar City. And folks, there's a whole bunch more artists coming later in the year at the Mansion Theater, especially folks like the Oak Ridge Boys, the Bellany Brothers, the Gatlins, Daniel O'Donnell, a whole bunch. We'll be sharing more of that with you in a future episode of Play Branson. If you haven't been to Branson, you need to come, and you need to go to iBranson.com, and those folks can help you plan your entire Branson vacation. You can either go to iBranson.com or call them at 877-ENTERTAIN, and they will help make your vacation super awesome. Thanks for watching Play Branson, and we'll see you next week on Play Branson.